गुड मॉर्निंग डियर स्टूडेंट्स एंड वेलकम टू जेनेसिस। वेल, आज का वीडियो सिर्फ डेडिकेटेड है प्रोटिस्टा पे। प्रोटिस्टा मींस यूनिसेल्युलर ऑर्गेनिज्म बट यूकैरियोटिक। सो जितना भी प्रोकैरियोट्स के बारे में जानना था हमने किंगडम मोनेडा में जान लिया। सो नाउ ऑन वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी ओनली अबाउट डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ यूकैरियोट्स. Now let us understand kingdom Protista in details. Well, they are unicellular eukaryotes. That means they will have a proper nuclear membrane around the nucleus. Second, they are mostly aquatic. Third, their reproduction can be by sexual method or by asexual method. Fourth, the life cycle of such organisms are of two types, zygotic meiosis and gametic meiosis. Let us understand this. See, when we talk about organisms belonging to plant kingdom, fungi and Protista, we often find that their life cycle is divided into few phases. Phases of haploid state and phases of diploid stage. Diploid means 2n, haploid means n. So our cells, like when we talk about human sperm and human ova, they are haploid, but all the other cells of our body, they are diploid. So in our case, only at the time of gamete formation, the diploid cells of testis and the diploid cells of ovary undergo meiosis to produce haploid gametes. This is gametic meiosis, where the cells undergo meiosis to produce gamete. But there is another kind of meiosis that we get to see in organisms belonging to plants, fungi and Protista, is that they undergo meiosis right after the formation of zygote. So imagine where two haploid cells combine together to produce a zygote, which is a diploid, and this zygote does not grow. It immediately undergoes the process of meiosis to produce haploid spores, and these haploid spores grow to form a proper body. So in their cases, the body of the organism is actually haploid in nature, because the diploid zygote has a very short span for which it exists. It immediately undergoes meiosis. So such type of meiosis, where the zygote is formed and immediately it is broken down to produce haploid structure, in such cases we will see that the life cycle of the organism shows more haploid structures than diploid. So such a life cycle will be called haplontic life cycle, where we see zygotic meiosis. On the other hand, where the diploid structure forms the body, we will see that the life cycle has more span of diploid structure than haploid structure. In that case, the diploid structure undergoes gametic meiosis to produce haploid gametes. So in that case, that life cycle is known as diplontic life cycle. We are going to study this further in details. Right now it may be little difficult for you to comprehend, but as we proceed further, I am going to explain it in details to you. But for now, you must know that these organisms are little unique because they show two different kinds of life cycles, and they show two different kinds of meiosis. That means they show zygotic meiosis, plus they show gametic meiosis, and they show diplontic life cycle as well as haplontic life cycle. The next part is the mode of nutrition. In their case, they show variety of modes of nutrition. They are autotrophic, they are saprophytic, they are heterotrophic, and some of them are even mixotrophic. That means they show autotrophic mode of nutrition as well as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So under autotrophic mode of nutrition, we are going to study about chrysophytes and dinoflagellates. Under saprophytic mode of nutrition, we will study slime molds. Under mixotrophic nutrition, we are going to study euglenoids, and finally under heterotrophic nutrition, and they are also known as protozoans, we are going to study different kind of protozoans. See, Protista is the kingdom, and under this we have a subgroup called protozoa. Why zoa? Because these protists, they look more like animals. One last thing about this kingdom is quite a mixture. So all the unicellular organisms are put together into this particular kingdom. So you are going to find unicellular organisms which look exactly like plants. So we put them under autotrophic ones. There are some unicellular protists which also feed on dead bodies, okay, of plants and animals, just like fungi. So we put them under saprophytic protist, which is slime molds. Similarly, there are protists which are just like animals. They cannot make their food. They rather depend on other organisms for their food. We have put them under the heading protozoans because they are like animals. So this kingdom is going to be very interesting because study little bit about plants, little bit about fungi, little bit about animals, but restricted to only unicellular organisms. Now let us talk about chrysophytes. हमें already पता है that they are autotrophic in nature. That means they can prepare their own food. Let us know a little more about them. They include diatoms and desmids. Desmids are also known as golden algae. They are found in fresh as well as in marine environment. They float passively in water currents. That means because they do not have locomotory appendages. That is why they have to constantly float with the water current. That is why they float with the water current. Next is the cell wall. The cell wall of chrysophyte is of great importance. Okay, why? Because the cell wall is impregnated with silica, and because of this the cell wall is indestructible. That means even after they die, the dead remains of chrysophytes will remain as it is because it's made up of silica. And as it starts to pile on, we have seen many underwater diatomaceous earth being formed. These are like mountains of silica or dead bodies of these chrysophytes, and they are of great importance to us. You know why? Because they are rough and we use them for polishing, for filtration of oil, and also for making up syrups. So please remember this point, because often there are questions asked on this. What is diatomaceous earth? Why can they form this? Because their cell wall is made up of silica. Next is the cell wall has a very unique shape. It looks like soap case where there are two structures that fit into each other. Okay, so the cell wall is made up of two halves resembling a soap box. Next is the kind of reproduction. Asexual reproduction, if they show, it is by binary fission. But when it comes to sexual reproduction, again there are two forms of life cycles I have already told you. So they basically show diplontic life cycle. That means in their life cycle, the diploid stage is more prominent. And what kind of meiosis will they show? They show gametic meiosis. That means only at the time of gamete formation, the diploid structure undergoes meiosis to produce gametes. Now gametes, these gametes can be of different kinds. If both the gametes that are produced and that are going to fuse to form a zygote are of same shape and size, then that method is called isogamy. But there is another method of fertilization that we also see in them, where one gamete, especially the female one, is large and non-motile, and the male gamete is small and motile. Just like in our case, the egg is large and non-motile and the sperm is motile and small in size. That type of fertilization is called oogamy. And after this fertilization, the structure that is formed is called a zygote. We know that when male and female gamete fuses, it forms zygote. The zygote of diatoms has a special name. They are known as oxospores. What about dinoflagellates? See, dinoflagellates, they are autotrophic in nature because they can photosynthesize. They have chlorophyll pigment in them. Apart from that, they are unicellular. They are motile. That means they have locomotory appendages, and they just don't have one appendage. They have actually two. They are biflagellated. That means they have two flagella, one of which is longitudinal, another is transverse. So if this is the structure of a dinoflagellate, then they have one transverse, another longitudinal flagella. And because of these two differently located flagella, they can twirl in water, and that is why they are also known as whirling whips. Next is their cell wall has cellulose plates on the outer surface. The cell wall is not smooth. They come out in the form of plates on the surface, giving them an armored appearance. Next is they can be green, yellow, blue, brown, red in color depending upon the kind of pigment which is present in the cell. Asexual reproduction is mainly by cell division, which is by fission, and in sexual reproduction the fertilization is isogamous, where we already know where both the gametes are going to be of same shape and size. It can also be anisogamous, where both will not be of same shape and size. And life cycle, both the type of life cycles are shown by them. They show zygotic as well as gametic meiosis. In this way, we can see the sexual reproduction shows lots of variety under dinoflagellate. There are some dinoflagellates which show haplontic life cycle. There are some dinoflagellates which show diplontic life cycle. Then they also show bioluminescence, which is the capability of glowing. Okay, so they have some chemicals in them because of which they can glow in absence of light. And then finally, there is one example which is given in our syllabus, which is about goniolacs. This is a type of red dinoflagellate. They multiply so fast that they can turn the entire water body red, resulting into a phenomena which is known as red tide. This looks beautiful, however, they are capable of producing toxins which are extremely dangerous for marine animals. So with this, we finished this class. In the next class, we are going to study about slime molds, euglenoids and protozoans. Thank you, keep revising and don't forget to subscribe my channel.